This is the small amount of sauce that I set aside in the fridge earlier. It did thicken up. It's got a beautiful red color. It is a lovely, cool morning, and what better way to heat up the house than by making some plum sauce. Come along with me as I use up some very ripe plums. Hello, howdy, and welcome. I'm Kathryn, and I'm the Aerogarden Homesteader. And if you saw the intro then, or the title of this video, hey, both work, then you know I'm making some plum sauce. I am following a recipe I found on a website called Let's Dish. I will leave the link below, obviously, so you can find it. There is one in my ball canning book that I have. Let me show you which book I have. I have this book, The Guide to Preserving, and on page 128 and 129 it does have a plum sauce recipe. I think that the recipe I'm following is very similar to this one. It doesn't call for mustard seed or just regular granulated sugar. It doesn't call for an onion either. The other recipe I'm following on the Let's Dish website, it actually sounded a little bit better, so I decided to go with that one. The ratio of acid and sugar appears to be the same, so I feel safe using this recipe. I wasn't actually going to can this recipe today. I was just going to make a basic plum sauce, have it in the fridge, and I ended up with 2 different batches of plum. These ones I've had for a while. They've been in the fridge. They're kind of wrinkly, but they're also tart. They're very tart. The other ones, we just got them and I was hoping to eat them, and somehow they went from ripe to overripe in like 2 days. So I didn't even have a chance to eat them. So yeah, see, like, look how squishy those are. So I just decided I'm going to double the batch. And as you can see, I had to upgrade my pot because they weren't all going to fit in that little pot. Hopefully they will fit in this bigger pot because I don't want to have to mess up another pot. So right now I'm going through, I am just cutting them in half and pitting them. So they pit pretty easily. These are a freestone, so they just pop out really fast. But it will take me a little time to go through and pit all these up. I did wash them beforehand, that's why they're wet. It's always good to wash stuff that you're not going to be peeling because, yeah, I don't know what the farmer sprayed on this stuff. So, but I'll just zip through this. You don't need to watch me pit every single plum. Okay, so I have all of them pitted, and just so you can sort of see what's going on, I've obviously got all my ingredients laid out, and over here I have my water bath canner on the back burner, just on a medium, slightly over medium high heat, not medium high, but just slightly over medium on the heat. I do have I got Harvest Guard lids in there, the reusable ones. I like to keep my lids in the band, so it's really easy to pull them out. I don't have to worry about the rubber gaskets floating away on me and making it hard to get them. So I just keep them in the bands. The bands themselves don't need to be warmed up or heated or sterilized or any of that stuff because they don't affect the seal. But just to make it easier to get these out, it's easier to grab onto the band than it is to try to fish out the plastic lid with the gasket and it's floating all over the place. And especially if the water's too hot to just reach in there and grab it. So back to the plum sauce. Let me see if I can get you a slightly better angle on what's going on in the pot. Oh, that would just be worse, wouldn't it? Okay, well, that's slightly better. I can't really get you any further away. Fortunately, it's a small, messy kitchen. So let's get see if I can get my phone to turn on with the recipe. Okay, so I am doubling the recipe. It calls for 1.5 pounds of fresh plums, pitted and chopped. Well, apparently I already failed on following the directions because I did not chop them. They are cut in half. I guess we will find out how much of a difference that plays. Maybe I'll have to just boil it a little bit longer. So, doubling everything, I will read you off the single amounts, but I will be putting in twice the amount. So it calls for 1/3 cup of apple cider vinegar. Now, I'm not a huge fan of apple cider vinegar, so I really hope this isn't a very strong flavor in here. I might go for some plain white vinegar, actually. We'll do that, and I don't have very much in here. just go with it. Alright, well, not quite 1-to-1, but there we go. Got 2 of those going. Oh yeah. You know, they should put these in order, a different order. You really should measure out your sugar first, because then you don't have to worry about washing your cup. So I'm going to have to go and wash my cup so I can measure out my sugar. Okay, well, it's just going to have to be dry enough. Okay, calls for brown sugar. If you've been following me for a little while, then you know I just don't keep brown sugar in the house. I accidentally bought a gallon of molasses. And needless to say, after you do that, you're not going to buy any brown sugar. Okay, so it calls for 1/3 of a cup of brown sugar. I'm going to double that, obviously. And in order to turn that into brown sugar, it calls for, so to make light brown sugar, you need 1 tablespoon of molasses per cup of sugar. I put in 2/3 of a cup, so I'm going to probably put in just slightly less than, it's going to be a scant tablespoon, I think. I think that'll be fine. So, I'm just going to let that sit and drain. Put that back on. Okay, so the next ingredient is 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. So 2 tablespoons is 1/8 of a cup. I have 1/4 of a cup here, so that's so I can double it. Let's see how much of this is left. I also bought like a gallon of soy sauce, so the soy sauce in this container is just whatever I put in from the gallon. Oh, look at that. Perfect. I don't have to open the other bottle. Okay. There we go. There's that. Get my recipe bag. So I am done with this 1/4 cup measuring cup. Throw that in the sink. Done with those. Alright. So it calls for 2 cloves of garlic. Let's do the garlic first. So I believe a clove of garlic is a teaspoon. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And it calls for a tablespoon of freshly grated ginger. Well, I don't think my tablespoon is in any condition to be used for ginger, so I'm just going to eyeball it. I need 2 tablespoons. That's about 1. That's about 2. Now, by all means, if you've got fresh, you don't want to use the stuff from the jar, the puree, what is this, chopped, go ahead and do that. But this is what I keep in the house because it keeps forever in the fridge and I don't have to worry about anything going bad. Final ingredient is, it calls for 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. I don't know if these are actually red pepper flakes or chili flakes. I don't know what the difference is. But I've got a 1 teaspoon measure here and I'm just going to do a scant, that's about scant. So I'm going to just put that in. I'm okay with spicy stuff, but I don't want blow your head off spicy. So I will give that a try, and hopefully it won't be too bad. I'm going to try to get some more molasses out of this scoop. That was a bit of a fail. Okay, let me see. So obviously put everything in a medium stock pot, saucepan, bring to a boil over medium heat. So I've got it on, it's on 7, so it's just above medium. So I'm just going to go with it. Clean off the counter a little so I got some space to work. Alright, well, pretty much I just need to bring this to a boil. I need to let it simmer for 25 minutes until the plums are soft. So in my case it could take longer than 25 minutes because I do have some that are underripe and they are a little more on the firm side than the soft squishy ones. Plus I apparently didn't dice them up like I was supposed to, chop them up. But once we get to that stage, I will bring you back. At that point, we're just going to be pureeing it, warming it back up, and putting it in the jars. But I will definitely bring you back. I'm back, and it looks great. It has not been the 25 minutes it called for, but it also did say to go until the plums are soft and it's thickened a bit. I don't know if it's thick. I mean, I assume it's thickened up a little bit, but the plums are nice and soft. I can mash them up against the side, and I have kind of been mashing them up against the side a little bit to help them break down a bit while I've been stirring. I did say too, once I brought it to a boil to reduce heat to a simmer, so I have been trying to keep this at a simmer, but I think sometimes it got away from me a little bit, so that could be why it's done a little early. But the next step, hope you can see this okay, I'm just going to pull it off the heat a little bit. I have an immersion blender and I'm just going to give it a blend. So I won't be able to talk through this part because I think it'll be a little noisy. I'll probably just speed through it. Okay, well, if you have a better blender than I do, go ahead and use that. It does say you can use a blender. I don't have a good blender. Also make sure you follow the instructions on blending hot liquids because if you overfill it you could have a explosive accident. The skins don't puree very well, and I did try to let it go a little bit longer, but I might just leave the skins that are caught in my immersion blender, just leave them there so I don't have to deal with those. There are some skins also in the pot, but again, I will just deal with those. So it says to put it back on the heat, bring it back up to a boil. It should be still pretty darn hot because, I mean, I literally just took it off. I didn't have to transfer it to a cold blender and then transfer it back to a pot. So this part should go pretty quick, and then once I get this up, I will start putting it in jars. I wasn't planning on putting it in jars because I was just going to make a single batch, and I thought, oh, it only makes 2 to 3, half pints. That's not too bad. I could put those in the fridge, but once I ended up doubling it and it was looking like 5 or 6 half pints, I thought maybe it might be worth doing the canning on this. So like I said, see, yeah, it did not take long at all. It is already starting to come up to a boil. Now, in the meantime, I cleaned up my space. I got my dishes done. Let me see if I can readjust this a little bit. Let me see, I'm going to turn it this way. So I got all my canning stuff out, ready to go. Obviously this will be in the way slightly, but I will, my pot, I got the cutting board to protect the counter from the heat from the hot pot. So this is, I'm going to call this a boil. So give it one last stir. Okay, move this to the cutting board. I'm going to move my pot to the now hot burner and turn the other one off. And it is time to start filling. I get my rag wet too. Okay. I just get it wet with really hot water. Some people like to use vinegar. You do you. Okay, I'll pull my first jar. So I am using, these are the wide mouth jelly jars. So these are the only ones, these are the only jelly jars I have on hand, so figured why not. I'm looking for just slightly more than a 1/2 inch headspace. Now the reason why I'm doing that is because once again I'm using reusable lids. I've been trying to use more of the reusable lids, especially when I'm water bath canning, because it just doesn't feel quite so wasteful to pop open a reusable lid as it does to pop open a metal lid that, they're supposed to be single use. Just feels so wasteful. I knew that was going to happen. Okay. Always wipe the rim, even if it looks clean. Okay. I'm going to fish out a band with one of my lids in it. Like I said, these particular ones are Harvest Guard. I do have a mix of Harvest Guard and Tatler. So, and like I always do, I hold the gasket in place and I invert it over the jar so I know that it's resting properly. Then I put my finger in the middle and just give that a tighten until it spins. And then back in it goes. On to the next one. This is just a lather, rinse, repeat. This particular recipe, because it's in the 1/2 pints, it had a processing time, it said, of 15 minutes. Which again, compared to the ball one, sounds appropriate. Load another band with a lid in it. Bands definitely get a little hot when they're in the water bath, so please be careful. I'll turn my temperature up to make sure that starts heating up where it needs to. Get another jar. It's a beautiful color, and that is from the skins. That's one reason why we leave the skins on. I don't know if you remember when I was cleaning them, the flesh is pretty light in color actually. It's kind of like a blueberry. All of the color is in the skin. Alright. See, this lid got away from me because I put the lid in upside down. Imagine that! Okay, but see, the band kept everything contained. So that's why I like to use the band. I hope I have enough jars. Starting to get close. I have to go find some more. I still have quite a bit left. I might have to go track down a couple more jars. Okay, this is my last half pint. I do have a quarter pint in there, but I may have to go and find another half pint because I do believe I have more than a quarter pint's worth left. I always try to stick in an extra jar, but I guess I just went the wrong way. Oops, 2 for the price of 1. Okay, we'll get another jar. 2 just in case. Brand new. Since they're brand new and I don't know how clean they are, I will just pop them in the water real quick. Just give it a kind of quick rinse. Grab another reusable. And I just save these aside for the next time I'm pressure canning and I need a lid. I'll just toss that in there to warm up a little. Alright, you get a jar. Let's see where we're at. Okay, so definitely one more full one, and I think I might have enough in there to do that quarter. I don't even know what, does that have a name or is it just called quarter? Quarter pint. I'll do that when it now feels good. Okay. Okay, put that in my very bizarre quarter pint, and I will get a spatula so I can get every drop out. We're taking bets that this overfills, because that is always my luck. Although, you know, a little for the fridge will be nice. Nice to give this a taste. Let's see how hot's my pot. The side of the pot's a little hot. Let me see. Oh, you know, let's try that full pint, the full jelly. There might be enough in there to do. So I'm just going to scrape it down and get it in there. Whoop. Alright. One for the pot, one for the fridge. That's the best day. You get a little bit you can try later. So this is the one going in the pot. And then this one will just go in the fridge. There you go. Get to the last drop. Let's get my lid. Okay, so let's see. I got 1, 2, 3. I got 7 jars. Not too bad. Try to clean up your mess quickly so it doesn't set in place. Although that immersion blender is going to make a mess. I will get a lid for this, and I will get a lid for my pot. I think I have enough. Oh, it's tight. Not quite enough water. Okay, well this is just hot tap water. It will kill the boil. Not that it was really boiling to begin with, but... And I'm pretty sure I showed this trick before, but if you have one of these debubbler tools that has the headspace lines on it, you just put that in there and then you can see I've got plenty of water. I've got plenty of water in there. So now that I have plenty of water, I'm going to get my lid on. I'm going to bring that up to a boil, and it required 15 minutes of processing time. And that means 15 minutes at a full rolling boil. So when I take them out, I will bring you back, and I mean, I don't think it'll look that different, but I will show you then. I'm back. My 15-minute processing time is up. My 5-minute cool down time is up. I can now take these out, and only because I'm using reusable lids will I tighten down the fans. Had I been using just regular metal flats, I would not be doing this step. Oh, hot, hot. Try not to touch the jars. Okay, so I will go through, I will pull each one of these out. Let me see, can I show you? Boy, it looks really nice. And the red food color, well, the red coloring only came from the skins of the plums. I did not add any red food coloring to this at all. In fact, it didn't even call for any, but it's a beautiful red color. In case I forgot to mention, I did use Italian plums when I made these. I'm not sure it really matters which variety you use. Those are the ones I had on hand. Those are the ones we were able to get locally for a good price. So that's what I'm using. And I do think that Italian plums are traditionally used to make prunes. So the ones you see in the store, I think, are generally made with Italian plums. And so now you know. So I don't drain the water off. I don't tip the jar when I'm draining it. I just let it, whatever comes off, comes off. If I end up with a lot, I end up with a lot. That's why I've got something to sort of mop up a little bit of the extra water when I'm tightening. There we go. One more. There we go. Oops. Grabbed that one wrong. And I will bring you back later after these have had a chance to cool completely, and I can go through and check the lids. Ooh, that one sounds hollow. That one may not have sealed. We may have some that didn't seal. No big deal. We'll just go from there. This is the small amount of sauce that I set aside in the fridge earlier. It did thicken up. It's got a beautiful red color. So I'm about to eat it on some noodles. I stir fry it up. If you found this video useful, please like and share so others can also find it. And if you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the bell so you can be notified of when I post a new video. And I will see you next time on the Aerogarden Homestead.